All right, welcome in to the first Nebrasketball hour. Here it is. We did it. We got a show going. It's a Sunday night. It's 8:30, and I'm Jack Mitchell from the I-80 Club and KLIN, and Kaleb Henry from Husker Max joins me again this year after
we're back, baby.
An amazing year last year doing Nebrasketball content. We have now joined all of our content under one banner. We're calling it the Nebrasketball Hour. It may be a show during the day or the evening. It may be a post-game show. It may be a pre-game show. We're trying to be flexible here, and so that's what we're doing. It's the Nebrasketball Hour. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are ready to talk a little Nebrasketball now that we have gotten to the place where it is relevant here in mid-November. Hello, Kaleb. How are you doing today?
I'm great. This is, I will say, it is weird for us to be doing a show at this time of day and it not be immediately following a game. Like it does feel awkward, but I know as we get into the season, it's a little, when are we going to do these? And we're figuring it out. But
we're working on it.
No time like after the game yesterday.
Well, I will say this, like we have had so many people reach out to us and be like, hey, you guys, when are we doing this? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? When's this coming? When can I watch this? I really appreciate it. It means a lot that you guys enjoyed it so much last year. I apologize that it's been difficult logistically to figure out exactly what we're doing this year for a variety of reasons. And primarily is my own schedule. But also Kaleb's schedule, and there's a lot that goes into it, and the Nebraska basketball schedule, which is not conducive to post-game shows, Kaleb, this year in a lot of ways for someone who has to wake up early. So in any case, we appreciate everybody who enjoyed it, and thank you for asking for it. We do appreciate that, and to the degree that it was, to the degree that it was difficult to do. We're going to try and get on for you, and that's why we're doing this tonight. If you're new here, this is available publicly. We would love it if you're here joining us for the first time on either. We're just on the I-80 Club page tonight.
Yeah, we're just on I-80 tonight.
Is that good? Is that all right?
Yeah.
We're just on the I-80 Club page tonight. But so if you're watching us on the I-80 Club YouTube page, please give us a like. That would be great. If you want to set alerts, that would be awesome. That's one way you can help us out. If you're interested in being a part of the conversation, then you can become an I-80 Club member, patreon.com/I-80 Club. We read our comments from our Discord, which is our members. There's also a lot of member only stuff. Josh and I do shows that are for the public sometimes, for members only sometimes. But all the time when we read comments, it's from our Discord for members only. So check that out if you're interested in doing that. You can do it as cheap as $5 a month. I can also get you access to things like Volleyball State, which just finished up their show just here a little bit, Kaleb. It's a busy night here. Got another Nebraska volleyball sweep that was against USC. But tonight we are talking Nebraska basketball. So I think I have gotten all of that stuff out of the way. Kaleb, how are you doing? Welcome to Nebraska basketball season. How do you feel going in from, you've been with Husker Max here for a little over a year here, and you are, you've gotten used to this is your second football season and starting your second Nebraska basketball season. What's this kind of transition like for you?
This is the month of absolute chaos. I am lucky, though, that I'm not having to do something this year that I did last year quite a bit as we got into November, December. The Volleyball State guys, Lincoln Arneal and Jeff Sheldon, are writing for Husker Max this year. That was new at the beginning of this season, and Jeff started a little bit before Lincoln. That has taken so much off of my plate on having to worry about where things are. So, yeah, it's just this is a month of chaos. The longer everything goes, Husker football will be in a bowl game. You'll have whatever postseason run for number one Nebraska volleyball in December. So, it's kind of November and December are months of chaos. I obviously going into this basketball season, it feels a little bit different because of the number of transfers, the returners that you brought back, the return of Rienk Mast, and what we watched unfold last year with the change to the offense. I want to get into those. I want to get into, Jack, you being there in person in that environment, because the firsthand stories I've been hearing in the last 24 hours are bonkers about that facility. But we would be doing a disservice if we went beyond the 10-minute mark. We're only 6.5 minutes in, but if we went beyond the 10-minute mark and we didn't give some confidence ratings.
That's exactly right.
We have to do some confidence ratings.
We will.
Start.
And so every show we do, whether it is a, during the day show, whether it's a pregame, a postgame, again, I know the schedule is going to be a little different than what we did last year, and we'll work on it. But Kaleb, let's just commit right now. We'll do a confidence rating every time.
Every time.
Yes. So you're going to have data points throughout. And by the way,
oh man, that's going to be crazy if we jump on a post game. It's like an 8:00 tip. It's 10:30 at night. We get on. All right, quick tournament confidence rating.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, it'll be a little different, but we'll always. One thing we will promise you, we will always give you this rating. And by the way, before I want to give a couple of shout outs on some super chats, because although we do read only the comments from the Discord, if you give us a super chat, we will post you. So if you want to do that tonight, you can. Shout out Theo. Theo is always so loyal. Always love Theo. Shout out to Theo. And look who else is watching. Mike Stibbs, who says that Chiefs suck after he is in a very, very good place after the Broncos got the walk-off field goal to beat the Chiefs tonight. So shout out to Stibbs. Thanks for watching tonight. All right. So for those who are new to the show, the way we started last year's Nebrasketball brunch show, every show is Kaleb and I gave a rating between 1 and 10 that indicated our confidence on that scale for Nebraska, or that Nebraska would make the NCAA tournament. So did every show, and thanks to some of our listeners, DPM in particular, who has charted it during the course of the year. And so we got to see it graphically and visually. We posted it during the show. So we will do that again. As I said, this year it'll be a little more all over the place because it will be whenever we do a show. But last year, Kaleb, I just remember my shock last year because you started at an insane. I mean, you were wrong. So it was an insane number that you started at.
No, it's the confidence that I was at. It's not a predictor. It's how confident you are at the time.
Okay. Well, I mean, so I still think you had a weird amount of confidence at the beginning of the year.
You said 3.5. So that's technically you were wrong too. Like, is that what it is? If you have
that was right. That's 0, exactly
yes or no.
That's the number. That's what happened. 3.5 means they win the crown, which I will point out I did not know existed when I gave that 3.5 at the beginning.
I don't think you knew the crown existed until they landed in Las Vegas.
Yeah. I don't know, Kaleb. Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You start, because I baffled you last year when I hit you out of the gates with a 9.
All right. I thought about this earlier, and I've been debating in my head. I had a number. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I will go right now. Man, after it changed after yesterday. I mean, I will say that I'm at a 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
4.5. Yep. I am at a 4.5 right now. That is our own perception out of 10. So a 45%, or however you want to skew that, you can watch the show all year, but that's where I am last year. And I started much lower than that last year. I think 3.5.
You started at a 3.5.
So,
and you did not go above, you did not switch off of that until week 5. And you went to a 5.5, and you stayed at 5 and above, really. until things kind of crashed
At the
there
end
for
of
a
the
while. But yeah.
So I will start there, and I like that number. That's where I am. I'm at a 4.5 right now, which I guess means very slightly less than likely that they will make the NCAA tournament. Now, I am curious if you're going to do what you did last year and go way high to start the year based on
I'm not going to give a 9. I'm not going to give a 9 to open the year like I did last year. I'm going to give a 9.7 is where I'm going to. I am so friggin' confident in this team right now. Are you kidding me? 9.7, baby. Let's go. Leave Sioux Falls behind. Kansas City, watch out. 9.7 train. Let's go.
All right, so start the season. I am at a 4.5, very much like last year, if you think about it. I'm at a 4.5, and Kaleb is almost as very close to 100% sure this team is making the NCAA tournament, which makes me kind of think you don't understand this exercise.
Longest win streak in the country. Longest active win streak in the country.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. All right, so there you go. People who have been asking for it, wildly different. 4.5, Kaleb at a 9.7, and that is where we start.
Yeah, one of us enjoys life. One of us likes to live. That's the way. That's the way this has always worked.
I can be a fatalist. I am more of a fatal. People have told me this before. I am more negative about Nebraska basketball than I am about Nebraska football. People get mad at me about being too positive. Well, they get mad at me for everything I say about Nebraska football, but it tends to skew more like you're too positive about football, but I am more of a fatalist about basketball, I think.
Hey, as Skurs04 notes in the Discord, I am full mast.
Amazing. By the way, the full mast guy will be on my radio show tomorrow morning at 8:35.
Yes.
He had someone reach out to me on his behalf while I was driving home last night. Oh, man, I got some stories for you, Kaleb. But he had someone reach out to me that I kind of knew, and he kind of wanted to tell his side of the story. And I was like, I'm willing to do that. I won't be on the radio until Monday, but if you want to come on Monday. So I texted with full mask guy quite a bit this morning, and he will be on with me. Here's what he's told me, Kaleb. He said, thank you for sticking up for me, referring to my tweets. And then
I think most of our tweets were sticking up for it.
He was driving home or riding home. I don't know if he was driving or riding, but he said his wife, who was home, not with him, is none the pleased with him being the center of attention. So,
is she more upset with him or the buddy for immediately ratting him out? Because
I don't know. I mean, obviously that is going to be a part of the discussion tomorrow. Is like, is that dude with you? Are you still friends?
I can't wait to listen to this tomorrow.
Yeah, so he'll be on with me at 8:35 tomorrow. But let me say this first, real quick. Having been there, and we went up in the morning yesterday, and came back after. There's a story about that too, but maybe I can tell it later. But if you get a chance to go to that venue, it's about I don't know 3,000, 3,500 total. So it feels like the way when I texted my daughter at the game, I was like, it feels like the East Gymnasium, but it's got more seats on the ends, basically.
Yeah.
But when East has the balconies open up, that's what it feels like. Or I think most LPS schools have that same. I mean, that's about what it feels like. It's about that size. And so it was the way I described it in a tweet last night was, it was like you were at a high school basketball game that is a vicious rivalry, but only one of the team's fans are there. And then there's also tons of booze.
Yes.
which there was.
Which is why I responded to that tweet of yours and said they need to move the Nebraska-Iowa men's basketball game to Lincoln Southeast and bring in kegs.
Yeah. It would
be bonkers. And it sounds like that's what it was last night, especially as you had and I'm not going to complain about the officiating, but you could see that it was a little looser on one end and a little stricter on the other. And then you have everything build up to full Mast fan. And it sounded like on TV, and then listening back to Kent Pavelka on the Huskers radio network, it sounded like the place was out for blood.
Yeah. No, it was bloodlust. Like, I did not know this fan base had it in them, but there's just something different, Kaleb, about and I kind of saw this in Kansas City a little bit too when I went to the Nebraska-Cincinnati football game.
You get some of the not regulars.
Yeah, the traveling fan base is younger, more intense, right? And likes to party. And and now there's alcohol available at all of these venues, right? Mm-hmm. And before, and it changes. It's a very different experience than the old home game, home crowd. It's just younger and rowdier and more intense for the whole thing. And so you had that, number one. You had the bandbox, number two. So you had everybody on top of it, and everyone was close to I was about 3 rows from the back. Right? Like, and it was closer. It's about, Caleb, you sit in those good seats that I've got sometimes down close to the that I've got, but our station has. I don't know. Move back about 10 rows. That's about where I felt like I was.
Like, no, there's not a bad seat.
Yeah.
Like, everything is pretty close. Like, much like a Class A high school gymnasium.
Yes. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. It feels like a high school gymnasium. By the way, shout out Mike. He says, I want to say Nebraska stay undefeated till 12-7. He says, roll Jays. Wow.
Had me in the first half.
And then he said, as an LSE dad, I've always wanted beer at Frosh. Shout out Mike. Thank you.
You're allowed to have every beer.
Wow.
You're allowed to have a beer for every state title that the Knights won.
Man, a Southeast and a Creighton fan. Those are a couple of my favorite institutions. But then, so there was that part of it. And then, Kaleb, obviously there was just the fact that in the second half, Nebraska there was an area of the game where it was unbelievable how many things were going right for essentially the home team, right?
Right.
Every shot was going in. Rienk Mast is doing behind the back passes to freaking Cale Jacobsen. Cale's going in for layups to put him ahead. The play on the court begat a really loud, exuberant crowd. You had the setting as well. You had the fact that you were playing Oklahoma, which I think plays into it too. If that was against, I don't know, like
Oregon State,
LSU or Oregon State,
like the teams Nebraska has played there,
right? I mean, it wasn't. I mean, there's still some hate, and then Porter Mosier's our coach, who is, who he's a Creighton guy, number one, but he's just kind of easy to cheer. What can I say? He's easy to. If you're the other team, he's easy to cheer against. Should I say that? Although he said really nice things in the post game. So
that's great. It's the 40 minutes between the tip and the buzzer that matter on where you're.
I mean, he's wearing he looked like a villain in some kind of a modern day mob movie, basically.
All right, yeah.
So he's wearing the no tie and wearing the Jordans that looked like. I mean, look, he's a well dressed man, but like. He was annoying. He was annoying at the end of the game,
especially
with his
that
dubs,
last couple minutes.
Thing. But I will tell you this: bottom line about the one thing, I have never gone to a game and been like, you know what? I kind of wish I brought earplugs to this game. I've never been to a concert. I've seen people do it. I've never felt that way myself. It was uncomfortably loud during that game. I've never been in I think it was, I mean, just based on that, it was one of the loudest sporting events I've ever been to. And I mean,
fourth quarter was pretty loud in Kansas City, especially when you have that last drive.
It was just the acoustics of that place, though. Yeah.
You have that. You had the crowd pop with the Colorado game last year, but I think here's the difference with what I'm hearing you get to is that the loudness wasn't a moment or a drive. It was kind of start to finish. And some of that being, you didn't have this as a defensive drag out game where it ends up 45-42. And it's like, oh, it was close. And it came down to the end. But both teams shot over 50% for the game. You had that. Both teams relatively took care of the ball. Like Nebraska had ends up with 5 turnovers, and you had one in the last 30 seconds, which was immediately followed up by an offensive rebound. So it was like, oh man, you've avoided those all game. Don't let those happen now. But Nebraska has 5 total turnovers. Oklahoma has 10. Both teams shoot over 50% for the game. Nebraska in the second half shoots 64%. So you're staying loud the whole time because there is constant energy coming from the play on the floor.
Yep, 100%. Even in the first half, I tweeted something like, "Oh my gosh, this feels like a late 80s, early 90s Big 8 game." Or Oklahoma
throwback uniforms.
Yeah, the throwback uniforms, but Oklahoma in particular during those years, Stacey King. Oklahoma played like Loyola Marymount in the late 80s, and it was 135, 125. There were insane games during that era, and that's what it felt like. And I posted a score from a game in 1990 that I remembered when Nebraska went to the Lloyd Noble Center and beat Oklahoma, and it ended up being weirdly close to the final score of this game. In fact, it was like 111-99. Nebraska won 105-99 in this game.
105-99. It's a Sanford Pentagon men's basketball record in regulation.
Yeah. So that was the other part of it too. And it's weird kind of in retrospect. We get into the game now, but I don't feel like the defense on either side was just it wasn't terrible, It wasn't like they were
dudes just made shots.
I don't know what happened. They were just hitting shots at a high level. There were open shots from the outside, but it wasn't necessarily just crap defense the whole game, right?
No, and there were times, especially in the first half, I felt like, holy crap, how is Oklahoma making these shots to get out in front? Because they were making some tough ones. You also had times where you just had a mismatch and a guy got it done, like Rienk Mast, kind of bullying guys a little bit with some one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But you have to have guys make their shots. And we saw with Nebraska against Maryland Eastern Shore, you can have all of the advantages in the world and you can have open shots. And that's not to say that the Hawks didn't play decent defense at times, but Nebraska just didn't make open shots. You had early in the game against West Georgia, Nebraska just didn't make open shots. Against Oklahoma, Nebraska made shots, and the Sooners made their shots as well. And it wasn't just a ton of defensive breakdowns where you're like, wow, they have no answer for that guy or that set or something in transition that this team is doing. Both teams just played really well on the offensive side of the ball, which makes makes a really exciting game. It makes it really fun to watch, whether you're there in person or you're taking it in, watching on TV, or people just listening on the radio, whatever it is. There wasn't just this terrible mismatch of Nebraska's got 4 really good defenders, and there's a guy out there that you have to hide.
Right.
And Oklahoma's going to go find that one guy every time down
to the rim or something like that. Yeah.
That just didn't happen. There were moments where you had a mismatch and you hoped that your team was able to take advantage of it and the other guys weren't. And it happened for both teams at times. But overall, it was just really well done offense at putting the basketball in the hoop from three, from mid-range. You had in the last minute, Oklahoma guy, he just goes and pulls up for a 15-footer. It's like, crap. Like, it was a quick bucket. Now you got to go make your free throws on the other end. And like we said, there weren't turnovers. So it was really just high-level offense for 40 minutes.
What do you think changed? Nebraska did some really different personnel things between the first half and the second half, right? It seemed like Sam Hoiberg played almost the entire first half. Jamarcus went out. I think he might have came in a second time very briefly.
He had foul trouble
in the first half. Yeah, it was foul trouble. They tried Esiason in the first half. I don't think he played in the second half.
Right.
Like, it was a different, even than what we've seen in the early non-conference games. But what did you see differently in terms of both personnel and strategy? And Nebraska kind of started that run, right? They got it into single digits in the first half, but obviously they really made hay in the fourth quarter of the game, almost the fourth eighth of the game, to be honest. But like, what do you think they did differently? How did they adjust in this game?
Well, you had like Cale Jacobsen played really, really well. And when you got to that part, and here it is, here's everyone who played in the second half, is that you got more than 17 minutes from Rienk and Price. You got almost 19 minutes from Berkay, and you got all but 2 seconds from Jamarcus Lawrence in the second half.
Wow.
And then you get 11 and a half minutes from Sam, 11 and a half minutes from Cale, just under 3 minutes from Frager. That was your second half lineup. Now, the interesting thing as you're going through that is that, okay, you're pretty much getting a rotation of Cale Jacobsen and Sam Hoiberg. Okay, one of them's probably going to be out there. And if they're ever out there at the same time, you're kind of rotating around. Maybe Price is getting a little bit of a breather, Frager coming in, Berkay a little breather, Rienk a little breather. Like, that's what it was. So that's your second half. And I think the reason for that is that as much as you can have Rienk and Price Sanford on the floor and Berkay, those three, it's like, okay, how can you have those three on the floor as much as possible? And then you look and go, you have Jamarcus Lawrence play the most out of everyone in the second half. I think the reason that, and really what this points to is why didn't you get more Connor Esiason in the second half, is that where were you necessarily going to put him? Especially in a game where you're playing good defense, the other team's just hitting shots. I would probably, out of all of those guys that are going to play, that are going to defend on the perimeter, Esiason might be last out of all of those guys on perimeter defense. So you start to get to that part. And then the other guys weren't really playing bad. If there would have been a bunch of turnovers or guys are missing a bunch of shots, there just really wasn't a spot for him as that second half played out, and you got really good efforts out of those guys. It's an intriguing second half lineup compared to, and you also had Connor Esiason, I think, made like one basket in that first half. So it's not like he was going off.
He had a three, yeah.
So he wasn't going off. So really at the end of the day, you had a really good lineup out there. It was also intriguing to not get like even a shot from Frager over the course of that game.
Yeah, and he was obviously wasn't 100%.
Right. Yeah. But still, it's the way he can score the basketball, and then you score 105 and you go, you didn't get a shot from Frager the way he's played early on in the year. It's interesting. When you look at that second half, I think it's just so much that you were able to run offense and defense with the main personnel that you had, and really just swapping out Cale and Sam as your other guy who can handle the ball, who can make a shot if they need to, definitely one in there for free throws at the end, but also is going to play really high level defense on guys. So you go through that lineup and it's like, it's hard to really argue about getting someone else in there over the course of that. What happens, though, and this is a question that we'd got in the Discord, what happens, though, with that lineup as you get further into the year, as you get a fully healthy Braden Frager? Like, how much more does he play into it? How much more should you expect Connor Essegian? How much more should you expect in the big rotation for Oogie when he does finally make his debut as a Husker? So, like, there's going to be interesting developments in the way this rotation shakes out. But for an early season neutral site game, your fourth game of the year, and you're taking on an SEC opponent, it was nice to see Fred Hoiberg go ahead, have his initial rotation early in the game, get through the first half, but then really shorten it up in the second half and go, here's what's working.
Yeah.
Because there have been times where we're like, how is this rotation going to shake itself out?
Right.
And he just went right away and goes, realistically, this is 6 guys. Yeah, you got a little bit of Frager, but it was 6 guys in the second half. You take it home.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, Caleb, I said it even during the early games, and I especially said it, in the first half, 2/3 of this game last night. I'm like, listen, I understand Cale Jacobsen had a good, he had his kind of coming out party in the Crown, right? Like, but like, I don't know if he gives you, anything offensively for the most part. And then, and if that's true, or very little offensively, does he give you enough in every other place to justify having him in so often? And so I didn't get it with him. I honestly didn't. And it's always a frustration with him too, because and I'll get to the end of this in the way that it ended, because I understand how it ended. But like, Caleb, I'll watch him and I'll see him pass up shots or pass up, he'll get in the trees down low, and he'll decide, hey, look, he sometimes, just watching him, even so far this year, and at the beginning of that game, he looks like it's just the game is too big for him to some degree.
Yeah.
When he's on offense. And there are times where I've just been like, man, you have got to have a little like confidence in your offensive ability, man. Like, I get it, right? You're not, you're not Nigel Pack offensively or whomever, but like, you scored, 30 points in the state tournament, man. You made one of the most clutch threes in Pinnacle Bank Arena history. Like, why are you so? I can't imagine all of that, like, coming up to be the high school star he did, and just because sometimes it feels like he lacked confidence, Caleb. And then with him, it felt like something happened, and I don't know where it happened exactly in that game last night, but he became what I call Dark Jacob. And he, like, something changed with him in that game. He at some point decided to be assertive on offense. Like, here's a great example. This is nothing ended up coming out of this, but right before halftime, right? He had a chance to take a half-court shot. Remember this?
Yeah.
What did he do? He passed it off to Price, who didn't have time to shoot.
Had no time.
Like, dude, you've been the alpha male on a team, right? Like, why are you acting like you act like that? And he did. It was crazy. He did. Yeah. I don't know if it started with that shot that tied the game up, the and one or gave him the lead with the free throw. And then he took the well, I mean, how could he not take that 3 after Rienk threw it behind his back? But like,
right. But you're right.
I feel like that guy is a different player with a little confidence offensively is what I'm trying to say. And I don't understand why you play him if you get nothing from him offensively. It's
very much, and that's right. That was the question as you went through the Crown, and then you had everything come through the offseason. Okay, Cale Jacobsen, he's scholarship now, and he's going to play. Well, what is that going to mean? We know what that's going to mean defensively, but what is he going to do offensively? Is he going to take shots when you need him to take shots? it's very much a Sam Hoiberg question.
I have the same thoughts there.
And there are still times, and we saw it last night. Yes, he scored 18 the other night. He had 18 and 7, but he will still have to me a decent look.
He passed up a three right in front of me.
And he'll dribble into the paint with,
and then he'll go into the paint with. He's not going to go up with it. He can't. He's in the trees.
Yep.
He does. That happened. I don't know what the point of that is, to be honest.
Yeah, it happens enough that I think they're definitely seeing it on film. Like Fred is definitely seeing it on film. They're all seeing it. I'm wondering where you're going to get that connection for Sam. But to the point going back to Cale is that my concern going into the year was you were going to get Sam Hoiberg 2.0, which is not bad. It's not a bad player. There's a reason that Sam plays. There's a reason that Sam starts. But when you're looking at building a team that can win 20-plus games, make a run at the NCAA tournament, not just get there, but win a game, what you need is to have guys where we talked about it defensively, where you're not hiding someone defensively. You're not hiding someone offensively either. You have to be able to have guys out there that are threats. Otherwise, yes, you can have Rienk and you can have Price and you can have Berkay, but if you have Cale and Sam out there and neither of them wants to have that I'm going to shoot the ball if I'm open mentality, the defense can overplay for those other three guys, and then any advantages you have with them are gone. But what have we seen is that Dark Cale came out.
Dark Jacob.
Dark Jacobsen, whatever he is,
Dark
DJ. DJ showed up in the second half, and that becomes a player that can be dangerous for you in moments where the other guys are being overplayed. Sam showing that he can score 18 even against a lower tier opponent. Those guys need to take advantage of those moments more, because the more they do that, the more Price is open and Connor's open.
Yes.
It opens up everyone.
And Jacobsen did it in the second half.
Yes.
And I'll what's crazy? Like both Cale and Sam had drives in that game off the dribble where they took, I don't know if it was pack on both of them, but like they beat the guy, right?
Yeah.
Right off the dribble and went in and scored. We and they kept saying, I rewatched the game today on the Big Ten Network broadcast. You heard this, you probably heard this, Kaleb. They kept saying that they were forgetting Cale Jacobsen was left-handed. Did you hear this?
Yeah, they kept forgetting that. The broadcast also made sure to say, no, there's plenty of Nebraska fans here in their crimson. And I was like,
yeah, I heard that. But like, I don't know if that was what. Do you really think that was a thing? That they were forgetting that he was left-handed?
That's a very real thing. Like, you can do all of your scouting, but you forget. Like, in the moment, you forget that someone is left-handed, and then that becomes they dribble really well that direction, or they shoot with their left hand. Because a lot of times defensively, you're reacting to your rotation so quickly. You're like, okay, get out there. Yes, yes, yes. This is my shooter. You go to contest, and you're like, shit, it's the other hand.
Right.
Like, it happens so quickly that, yes, it's something that I'm glad they noted it, because it was clear at times that they were forgetting this player is left-handed. Now, I want to ask you about this, because it's becoming very clear who your 1-2 punch is. And yeah, you're getting, okay, here's this other guy got to double figures. This guy got to double figures. But what to you is the difference from seeing Rienk Mast back and being able to orchestrate the offense, but also the shooting and the quick trigger and being able to get into the paint and finish that comes with Price Sanford?
Yeah. Let's move to the pot. Like, straight. Not that Cale and Sam had a negative game. I mean, I think Cale.
No, it's interesting to see their development with where it is.
But I mean, I don't have much negative to say about the question you just asked. Price Sanford. Let's start with that, Kaleb. That I mean, I saw him last year. I watched him. I saw him in high school. Like,
I watched him double dribble live on TV.
yeah, but he has taken a step. Like, we knew he could, we knew he could nail 3 after 3 if he was open. That was always possible. But him at the rim, him playing defense, him rebounding last night, like that is what. And in the Maryland, or no, the 2 games ago, Florida International, he rattled off about 8 points in 20 seconds in that game too.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was a hit in terms of a transfer. And I don't even know. We were rewatching the game. I was talking to my son who played against him, and I was like, what is it like? Is he just have like basketball DNA? Was he coached super well? Because like, you admittedly look at him, he's got some size, yes, but like,
yeah, 6'7".
But like, he played defense like he was impressive during the course of that game in so many ways. I did not expect it. I was floored by how good, and then finishing at the rim, Kaleb, taking guys off the dribble.
Yeah.
The whole thing with him, and I think he's probably gotten to be more of a featured player this year than he was his first 2 years at Iowa, and he's probably, just kind of getting older, getting more experienced as well. But he looked, I don't remember. Yeah. I think of him and his brother, and so many of those Iowa guys, as just like 3-point marksmen, right?
Yeah.
But I got excited about him last night because I was like, man, this dude is way more versatile in terms of his strengths than I thought he was, if tonight is what is really true.
Well, I think something that you've seen, and even with my earlier comments about, okay, who's kind of the odd man out on where they are defensively, especially, Connor Essegian is better defensively in Lincoln than he was at Wisconsin. Pryce Sandfort is better defensively at Nebraska than he was at Iowa. A common thing I think you've seen, and I don't think we've figured it out enough with like bigs, but the way the defense operates, guys play better defense at Nebraska than where they were previously. So to see that step for Pryce early on is great, because as much as you saw the improvements on, okay, figure out the rotation, figure out where you want to force guys. Like last year, you were looking at Connor Essegian, and it was, okay, has he figured this out yet? And then you start to go through and guys figure it out. And you definitely saw it against Creighton. Like, you saw, this is how you want to rotate. This is what you're going to do to take away a dominant big. What you're seeing from Pryce is, yes, he has figured that out, but also he is 6'7", and he's able to move his feet really well.
Yeah, he's 6'7". Yeah.
Being able to defensively move like he is a game changer on the perimeter, especially within Nebraska's defense. So I think that's something that we should note, is that when you bring in these guys, whatever it is with Hoiberg and his staff, they get better defensively when they get here.
You better shout out Nate Lohnser there for that too, right?
Like, oh man.
And DW says it in the chat, right? Like,
yes.
If what you're saying is true, that these guys are getting better, that's got to go to him, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. With everything he coaches defensively. So you have that aspect of it, but then offensively for Pryce, he's now running with Rienk Mast, a true point forward who can distribute all over the place. I think even though it feels like Iowa had every guy on the floor grew up shooting 1,000 threes a day against Barnes, and like they were just good at it, and now Nebraska gets to take one of those guys away. I think Pryce is surrounded by actual, like, more scoring this year. And then you add in not only do you have the point forward and being able to orchestrate the offense with Rienk, and you have Berkay, a healthy Berkay, playing a lot closer to what he was before the ankle injury last year. And you get Jamarcus Lawrence. So you have so many different guys that can orchestrate the offense, run it either with the ball in their hands, off the dribble, like Jamarcus, or you have that point forward who's just at the top of the key and you're running guys off. You're either handing it to them or they're making a pass on a back door. I think the offense just works really well to Pryce Sandfort's strengths.
Yeah. It must be it, and he's developing, but he's just, man, I did not expect to get this from him this quickly. It's great. And I'll echo what you said about Bear K. I think he's physically in a better spot, right? He got the injury, and I think that was big at the end of the year. I think he's slightly slimmed down, maybe a little bit too.
He made 5 of his 7 shots last night, 1 for 1 from deep, 5 of 6 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds and assists, no turnovers. It's like when you look at that guy and you think of times last year where it was like Bear K is just going to start forcing stuff. Like you didn't have that last night especially.
But I will tell you what, all that said, the thing that impressed me most with Bear K last night was his defense.
Yes.
I mean, he was there. Man, they are quick with those roads. They don't get beat on. And again, I know that this was not a defensive game, but it wasn't one of those where it felt like the passes were always ahead of them, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily.
Well, and that's the thing, Jack. When you have both teams shoot the way they did, every little bit you can win defensively matters so much. Yeah, it was a race to 100. It's 105-99 final. But if you can win 2 more defensive battles because of your rotation, that's your 2 possessions. Like that's ultimately what it becomes. And you're right, Bear K was very impressive on that end of the floor as well. The combo of him and Rienk as big men is really nice to see, because you were hoping you were going to get that going into last year. And then, okay, can you get Morgan? Can you get Mia? Like, who's going to be able to rotate in? And you just didn't get that because of Rienk's injury.
Right.
Now you have those guys, and you start to wonder, where can you get 5 to 10 minutes a night from Oogie to go, here's another, he's 6'11". Where can you get him? Leo Curtis is young and slight of frame, but he's going to play if he can develop into it, because he's not redshirting. So just like the bigs are a little bit different this year too.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to Bear K. The defensive, he was just so much more disciplined and in the spot. And I think he's got to be the guy, Kaleb, unless you're playing Garcia, he has got to be that guy. He's got to be Juwan Gary last year in some ways on this team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's got to be that guy that you go, well, we're going to need you to go score. Like we're going to need you to go get it. Like he had 16 last night, but okay, we're going to need you to just be dirty defensively.
Dirty defensively, and you've got to get that freaking rebound, right?
Yes.
That was Juwan, right? He would get, and he was smaller than Bear K, right? But you knew he was going to get that. You've got to have that from Bear K. Now, Bear K is probably in some ways, a little bit, it was funny. Last night, Bear K took that 3, and he had that guy right in his face. And I was sitting by Johnny, and we were like, no. Yes. And I turned to him and I was like, it's Juwan Gary reincarnated, right?
I did that at home too. I was like, no Bear K, because I have in my head the Bear K is going to force it right now.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think if we can get to where he's not doing that, he's going to be effective offensively, and he's doing it in rhythm, even if it's contested. That's such a massive step for him.
Here's the other thing about him is he has got I think it's probably because of Fred's personality, but Fred, this team has tended to recruit guys, which is kind of weird in college basketball, but to recruit guys, Kaleb, who seem either more introverted or more old. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about Bryce Williams or whether you're talking about, Cale Jacobsen. Well, that's probably not a great example, but Rienk Mast, right? Yeah. And it's just you have not had, like you have in a lot of college teams, 7 guys who are super demonstrative, loud. You just don't have. Fred doesn't.
You're a long ways away from Casey.
And Casey, Juwan Gary are the exceptions, right? The Season's an exception, and I think Bear K is just weird, and I love it. He is Did you like I rewatched the game, and for instance, like when his hook and hold was in the review, that guy, I think it's a little bit part because he didn't speak good English, but he's got like so many facial expressions and hand gestures and like he'll go. I was sitting pretty close on the West Georgia game, and got subbed out. He gave 5 to everyone, which they usually do. Then he walked around to the back, and every team manager who's like a freshman in college, you touch their head. It's so like he does just goofy ass stuff all the time. And like there's Fred's teams here have not had that like sort of like goofy outgoing, but like he'll watch his reaction at 3 that he made too, right? In the Pentagon last night.
Well, you had Josiah Alec, but that's a different level of
Alec's another one, yeah.
Like Bear K's obviously a different level of player than Josiah Alec, and that's not a knock at Josiah. Like he was very good for what they needed him to come in and be. He was not offensively what I think any of us know Bear K can be.
No, and it feels like Bear K still hasn't hit that.
Yeah. But when you're talking strictly personality, where it's like this guy's going to be goofy or just outgoing or over the top, kind of like you're going to see every one of their emotions. You have the one end of the spectrum where it's Casey, and then you have the other end of the spectrum, and it really felt like you've had a lot of guys closer to the other end of that spectrum than the overly demonstrative guys. But you're right. There are moments where you get Bear K like that after the hook and hold, where you get Price at times, especially when he gets a bucket inside. You can see his face a little bit more.
He fires up a little bit. I mean, he still looks like a tall accountant, but
Yeah. I mean, that's what you get out of Iowa. You get the tall accountants who can make threes, and that's our price.
But Bear K is anyway. We got like 10 minutes left or less. We got to talk about Rienk Mast.
Oh man,
Kaleb, I underestimated, and I still don't think I have a great appreciation of it. But what I've realized during the course of this year, the BYU game, I think in particular in this Oklahoma game in particular, is what an absolute freaking nightmare he is to defend.
How far away from the basket was he on that 3?
Like he backed down. He did the old man YMCA back down. I mean, number 3 for Oklahoma. I mean, all of those got 5. He backed like 3 guys down. And then he can freaking finish all those, is just like kind of these, he's taller than you think he is.
Yeah.
He's a better shooter than you think he is.
Yep.
Now that his knee isn't terrible, he can jump higher than you think he can. I think he is a matchup absolute nightmare. I don't know who the comp is, if it's Dirk Nowitzki or who it is exactly, but it's a matchup nightmare for people.
I mean, it's probably closer to Jokic than it is
maybe Jokic, yeah.
And the reason being because of the way he passes the ball. The reason being because of the way he orchestrates the offense. I don't think he's quite the scorer, maybe prime Dirk was that you would compare to, but he can be close to that. He can score so well at he's taken some guys off the dribble. Like if he can get an angle, he takes them off the dribble. It's not quite the Derek Walker find whatever angle and you're using the Pythagorean theorem to play it off the glass type of drives, but he gets in there and he finishes well, and he can back guys down, and obviously he can shoot from 3, and that extends the defense to have to defend him, and it opens up the lane in a way that he's getting back cuts. What I've gotten out of this, as you say, maybe underestimating the return of Rienk. To me, this is validation on looking at when we talked about last year what was missing. It's Rienk Mast. It's what he brings to an offense. We see what happens defensively, but what he does offensively to score the ball and create scoring opportunities for everyone else around him.
100. Price doesn't have the season he's having this year without him. It's very short, but like nothing. I mean, listen, this dude is the heart and soul of this team, and he is the one who is giving opportunities, I think, to the rest of this team. And I admittedly underestimated Kaleb, the impact of having him back. And it was hard because at the end of, I remember that Texas A&M game, man, like he couldn't play defense. He couldn't play defense at the rim.
He was so broken at the end.
It was so rough to watch. And you knew he could kind of shoot, but boy, he got physical a couple of times during that game. He is bigger and stronger than you think, man. That, like, you sort of have the stereotype, like he's the European finesse player, but that dude is bigger and stronger than you think. But he can also shoot better than you think. Like, I mean, what, 73% last night from three? I mean, come on.
Just bonkers. Mast and Sanford combined for 9 of Nebraska's 3. So it's so incredible that you get to watch what Fred clearly figured out was working in Nebraska was that point forward with Derek Walker. Then he was able to hand it off to Rienk Mast.
100%. That's what it feels like.
And then he didn't have it last year.
Yep.
And now you have it back. And now you're
it's a little different, but I think that is when that offense, that's when it works. I mean, how many freaking times did Derek Walker throw it to Casey underneath, right?
On a back cut, yeah. And then
that's Price Sanford this year, right? That's what Price is going to get this year.
Yeah, and you started to see Connor figure that out more as the year went on last year. So if you can start to get a lot more of that, it's really exciting. So 4-0, Oklahoma win, exciting stuff up in Sioux Falls, and I think everyone had major FOMO, wants to get up there for future games.
Yeah. Oh God, you've got it. I wish, man, it's weird, Kaleb, because what Nebraska has had for most of the last several years is a guy who can go in and finish at the rim. And I don't know that they've got that this year necessarily. Like when Bryce, when Rienk is pulling those guys out, right, and taking the rim protectors out, he did that the NCAA tournament year, and you had Bryce Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had and that was when, honestly, Bryce had a great year last year, but I still kind of think the best Bryce ever was at the end of the year, his junior year, when he was driving and shooting. He shot, I wanted him to drive more last year.
Yeah, when you had a lot more of Alpha Bryce. Like maybe when you had a lot more of that.
And maybe Frager's the guy. I don't know.
I think that's the development you watch. That's the development you watch. Can Frager go be that finish in the middle of the lane guy? Real quick here on our last minute, Kansas City coming up. You get New Mexico on Thursday, then either K-State or Mississippi State.
What do you think?
On Friday. It's really big. This is really big. Now you're going to get teams that are way higher in the Ken Palm. These are the resume builders.
I think Mississippi State, last I checked, was the highest ranked of those. So if they could get the win, let's see if I can find this real quick here. New Mexico, and I'm just going by Ken Palm. New Mexico. Wow, New Mexico's down at 101. So Nebraska will be kind of a significant favorite in that game, right? Kansas State is at 62. Nebraska, if you're wondering right now, is at 40, where they're 41. And Mississippi State is at,
last I looked, Mississippi State was in the
45. 30s. Nebraska's the highest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
45. Yeah, they lost a game. I don't know who they lost to, but they lost a game.
Okay. So based off of that, the favorites this week at the Hall of Fame Classic.
I mean, they should go in like it.
Yes.
Man, these are scoop these up because once Big Ten starts and you're looking at a 500 record in Big Ten or something, it was interesting. They were talking about this during the game, and like, hey, you get these wins in November, but man, imagine you got to win like this in March. It'd be huge in a neutral site. All of these are neutral site games.
Yes, get there.
And I mean, these are like big games in terms of you look back at these. Mississippi State, by the way, lost to Iowa State 96-80. Beat North. They haven't played anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. They were in the tournament last year, lost to Baylor.
Yeah.
We'll see if Nebraska gets they could get Kansas State too in that game.
Yeah. Either way, just go take care of business. Whichever team it is that shows that you get on Friday, take care of business.
Alex on the Discord makes a great point. Winning versus St. Mary's last season would have changed the resume all year, right?
Yes.
Like what you don't want to do is look back on these games and be like, God, man, if you had that win, it would look just
exactly
different that you need.
And you have that with Oklahoma. Now you go try to get that with 2 more neutral site games.
Yeah, I mean, and then you get those, and you're like, hey, Creighton comes in, you're a favorite of those. It's time to think about, right? How about an unbeaten non-conference season? That's it. Honestly, if you can do this in Kansas City, that's the expectation.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, those are the ones you circle.
Yeah,
and it's what 5, 6, 7, 8, potentially 8-0 going to the Creighton game.
Yeah, and then you got Wisconsin and Michigan State. I think the early conference games. Those will be interesting, but so in any case, all right, we're going to wrap it up. That's it for our first episode of Nebrasketball Hour. Stay tuned. I think we're going to probably do some stuff at the end of this week with the Kansas City games. After they end, we'll keep you posted on the schedule. Watch the I-80 Club on Twitter. If you're a member, check out the Discord. We will keep you posted. Sorry, it's a little unpredictable at the beginning. We're going to be figuring it out, but we appreciate all the love that we got and the people who wanted us to do this. We will be doing it. Thank you so much, everybody. That is it for the show. We'll see you next time.